to continue the, I think, serious trend, and we're going to go over to Ian.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
The Enigma.
That's
What
right.
is your topic?
Well, I kind of want to get your guys' perspective on this, okay? There's been a lot of talk of it as of lately. Children in sports, okay? A lot of people are freaking out over football and other sports, but I focus more on football only because I played it for a long time, so did Rocco.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are saying, injuries, this and that. But I'll tell you this right now, that football was a huge thing on my life because it instilled so many, respect, teamwork, all these core things in my life that I think I do well at now, all because I did that. So what are the pros and cons? And what do you guys think? Do you think children should stay in sports? Should we sit there and have them in bubble wrap the whole time out there? What do you guys think of that?
Yeah.
Well, if you want your child to be able to pay for everything in your life, you should get them start on sports right now because they become superstars, and then they will buy you an awesome house.
And that's
an
the
awesome
Georgia
car.
model over here, man. These parents are no joke about that shit, for real.
Get him into sports?
Yeah.
Oh, man, sports early and then sports camps all year. Everything sports, dude. They're trying to make their kids the superstars.
Like football camp.
I'm
like
not
nonstop,
even kidding,
yeah.
guys.
I just
It
want my
is
kid to
so
be like
real.
a kicker or a long snapper, so he's in the NFL for years and doesn't get injured.
Exactly. Just a nice, easy position.
Yeah.
Let's see.
What
do you guys think?
Because you have a son, so
Yeah. I have him in sports right now. I mean, we've had him playing t-ball. We had him playing soccer right now. It's just it's soccer tots. It's not real soccer. It's just learning the fundamentals and everything.
It's just a group of kids running around kicking them off.
Yeah, pretty much. And then doing some agility drills and stuff like that, weaving out of the cones, and then doing some fun stuff. But I don't know, man. I have kind of a mixed feelings about this one too, because I have done sports, like you were saying, all my life. I started sports at, I believe it was either 4 or 5 was the first age group you can do soccer, and I started with soccer. And actually probably t-ball. It was between soccer and t-ball. I was doing both of those kind of at the same time. And I've played football for 13 years of my life, and I got a lot of post injuries, I think, nowadays because of some of that stuff. So I can sympathize when they're talking about children and playing sports, especially sports like football that are going to have a lot of contact, physical contact. Now, I still enjoyed it. I still loved it. I did learn a lot of great, personality skills, traits, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what we would use that, but team building. I learned team building traits. I learned confidence. I learned the social skills. I learned I learned a lot of different things actually through sports about myself. But there was I have an ACL injury that I've had ripped twice, and I really believe that my knee pains and issues stemmed from football. Stemmed from being hit in the knees, hitting the knees with helmets constantly when you're running the ball up the middle. And I used to complain to my parents when I was younger. I was like, "Oh, my knees hurt," and they would ask, "Well, what is it?" I was like, "I don't know. It kind of feels like there's supposed to be liquid in there, and there's not, and they're just rubbing, and it hurts." I was like, "I don't know what it is, but it hurts."
Walk it off, pussy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of did. No, I kind of did do that. I just kept playing and kept playing.
That is kind of like a mentality, though. It's always just fight through the pain, fight through the pain.
It's like, oh, don't worry about it. But I don't know. There's a lot of things that you can learn in sports as a kid, and there is things that can lead to injuries later on in life that I could see too as well. That I know, was 13 years of that PAL football worth it? To have 2 ACL injuries that I can barely run around with my kid today? No, it wasn't, to be honest. Was it would I want to enjoy some of it? Yeah, maybe not 13 years.
Yeah.
Maybe 4, 5, 6 or something like that to kind of enjoy it and play it, to learn those skills, but not to get serious injuries later.
But I mean, to me, I just think the pros outweigh the cons. And I understand. I got a bad shoulder, a bad knee now in my older age. Probably when I'm 60, I'm going to curse it every day. But I think that it really made me who I was. I met a lot of friends through that. Not only the social skills, teamwork. Those are just so core things that people need to know sometimes. And that's why I'm pro. I can't believe people are freaking out over, oh, well, my kid can get hit. Well, then don't put your kid in that sport, okay?
Yeah.
If you don't want him in that, don't put him in it. Don't try to regulate it. You don't need regulation
Well,
on every
you
little.
need to. I think the regulation in helmet to helmet contact in football has been really, really great, and I think
agree.
that's positive.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times that I had concussions that I still played, which was the stupidest thing in the world?
Right.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yes, the helmet to helmet thing, I get. But it's people sitting there saying, oh, well, let's put an age, pretty much a law that you cannot put your kid in this sport until this age. You know what? Hey, that's up to the parent and the kid. Like, I don't need a law to regulate that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's my point of view.
I agree with that.
I think
We're in a free country. I can do whatever the hell I want.
for sure.
To some
I think
extent.
I think sport. I think the sports in general for kids play into a role of like what we want those kids' skills to develop, right? And Ian, you were touching on this a little bit in terms of the social aspect and team building, but there's also the physicality. Teaching a kid how to like work out, take care of his body, like grow in that department. But there's also something other important that like kids need to learn as well, which includes discipline that comes from sports,
Huge.
amongst other things, right? And also mastery, right? And this doesn't have to be found in sports, although sports carry a lot of these things. But I think learning an instrument plays to that, right? How to do something on your own and not necessarily only a team. So I think a balance of sports and some type of mastery or hobby that they can get into, and they can learn like how to teach themselves and feel better about themselves and like show progress,
And
discipline,
feel
and getting certain things done. What's
Yeah.
that?
I said feel accomplished,
Yeah,
doing
feel
it,
accomplished,
so.
right? And then the sport plays a big thing in terms of teamwork and organization. You can get that in other stuff. It doesn't have to be sports. But the
Right.
one thing that sports does provide is that physicality of like running and learning what your body is like and how you can like help it develop and like building coordination, hand-eye coordination, stuff like that. I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of evolutionary skills like that you have to learn by playing sports, I feel like.
Yeah.
See,
Absolutely.
and I'm wondering where that might go to as well, because I've heard an argument as well, Ian, that was kind of like is like changing one C for another C, changing competition with sports into cooperation within sports. So where it's like not so much like a division thing, like oh us versus them kind of thing, but it's like learning to change a sport into a way where it's like everybody's together, working together, and changing, because that's a big deal too, right? These kids are young, and you want to influence them later in life. Now, what does competition influence later on in life? Competition, there's some goods to it, good things like I'm going to try to do better than you in this thing, and it can push yourself personally. But then there's also can be some negatives too as well. Like look at how we're so divided from country to country kind of idea. And some of those can lie in small foundations of like separation, which stems from things like, competition to cooperation.
But-
Now, it's an argument that I heard. There's some things that I see, like, I'm like, okay, I can, there's some there and some not there. I don't know how I would fully say what I would take on my opinion. But another argument to this, to the idea of sports and or at least a change in the way that sports are played,
Okay.
Like, I don't know, it was just something different that I was thinking too. I don't know if you guys could,
I think both are
it's
really
a take
important.
on
I think
sports,
Well,
yeah.
well,
I don't think you can eliminate one. or the
No.
other, right?
I think there's got to be kind of like I don't know.
It's healthy competition, right?
Yeah.
Like I was explaining earlier in the previous
exactly.
episode, like I am competitive to a fault at times. I get angry. I let things get the best of me. But like it's gonna happen, and those are the points where it's important for a parent or a coach or a teammate to be like, hey, this is a lesson now. This is to keep your composure.
Yeah.
It's about as a kid or a child developing about what you do in the face of adversity. Do you let yourself become completely uncomposed and lose yourself and cause more failures and flaws, right? Like failures are often looked at as a bad thing and you get angry and you want to give up, but like there are learning lessons, right? Yeah,
Right.
It is you have learned something from this failure, move on.
And I think
forward.
that's back to that point of you got to have that coach or that parent to give you that. Because if you don't, then you're that kid that's just angry. Because I have my child doing that right now. If he can't beat a puzzle, he'll do this one. Like he'll start going through that. And it's just a natural thing, right? It's something he's like, oh, I'm feeling frustrated. I can't figure it out. Like it's beating me. And you got to, as a parent, I got to kind of coach him and, hey, this is not how we do this. We relax, and you will never be able to figure out the puzzle if you're stressed like that. You need to get yourself to a calm mind and get yourself to where you can then go back at that puzzle and accomplish it. That you got to have confidence in yourself that you can and achieve it.
Steve, do you have Bella or Kira, is it? Sorry. Yeah. Do they play sports? Do they have any like insight in how that's been in their lives or?
No, actually, they don't. They don't want to do any activities at all. They're gonna end up. They're gonna end up probably, doing the legendary sport of LOL, League of Legends,
Yeah.
and
Sport.
because it is a sport.
Yeah.
It is a sport.
Absolutely.
I believe
No, they. We've tried to actually. Me and Amber were thinking that it'd be good to get them into like a sport or something to do on their own. Oh, can you guys hear me? You guys
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, we
Okay.
got you. I'm listening.
To get them into sport, but mainly because what Amber was saying was that it was just to keep them busy and occupied, not mainly just like
Keep
to
off
not
the
get into
trails.
trouble. Yeah, to not get into trouble and everything like that. But like, I don't really necessarily agree with that because like, I mean, either way, I think if they're gonna do something, they're gonna end up doing something.
Yeah, I was gonna
You know
say
what I mean?
kids will find a way to get in
Yeah,
trouble if
so
they want to get
like,
in trouble.
so I just said, if they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. Like, Bella was like, thinking about doing gymnastics for a while, but then they changed their mind. Kira, we're gonna thought about getting into soccer, but then she changed her mind. It's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So I didn't really think there was a lot of importance into it, but
Yeah.
they, they're healthy. They just went to the doctors. They're healthy. They're good. You know what I mean? Like that. But as far as like teaching them stuff like that, I think that's just part of being a parent. Like Rocco was saying, teaching his kid patience and everything like that. You don't necessarily need a team to do that, but I guess, I mean, as long as you show them that yourself, you know what I mean? Like that cooperation and all that other stuff too. So,
Like Clay had said, I personally think that all those traits that we can learn from team sports can be learned outside of out of a sporting environment. It can be learned anywhere. It just depends on, is that lesson going to be there? So I think that where I kind of see that the strengths, the pros so much on that is that you are, like Clay said, mastering your physical body. Because I believe, this is a personal belief, that it starts with mastering your physical body, then it starts with mastering your emotional body, and then your mental body. And those first years are so prime for mastering that physical body. Like I'm watching that in my kid, right? From first not being able to walk, then he's starting to run, he's learning his body in and out. And you really learn it by getting out there and doing these things that a lot of the sports have involved in them. The sprinting drills, the agility drills, these jumping drills, anything that has to do with like mastering that physical body. And I think that is pretty important.
It's so, there's just something about having that physical accomplishment, getting like up in the day and just you can emotionally stimulate yourself, but physically stimulating yourself, like getting that runner's high or feeling like you went out there and your body.
Because there's so many chemical reactions, right, that happen in your brain when you're exercising in some way.
Yeah.
Like it really helps with your, I guess, mental and physical
everything,
growth,
even stresses and anxieties, right? A lot of kids that are feeling right now in these moments, like a lot of people say, there's research behind it, is go for a run, a 15, 20-minute run before you have any of those moments, and you'll be calm because of the chemical reactions that are happening within your brain. That
runner's high?
Yeah, it's
You
true.
smoke a bunch of pot in the room.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
Runner's
what I was
high.
thinking. I was like, what is runner's high?
If you run long, like exactly what we're talking about, there's a release in endorphins and chemicals that like just you feel amazing. You feel like, I don't know. I've heard like cocaine or coke or something makes you feel so powerful or like great, but like you come off a treadmill after running or from outside running, you're just like, ooh, your lungs are just like completely. They've been expanding and working, and like just your chemicals are rushing.
I don't think
through your
I've
brain,
ever
just
had a
feel
runner's
amazing.
high. I just hate it when I'm doing it.
Yeah. It takes a while. There's just like a line you cross, and you just feel great. You feel really good, like you could do anything.
So, Ian, to your point, man, there's some things that I can see where they could have that argument of like, and then there's some things that they like, okay, not, do I think there should be a law? No, I don't think there should be a law put into place that says that like you have to be at this certain age or that certain age, unless there's like hard evidence that's like every kid that ever plays football for this at that age develops some spinal dysfunction. Like
a kid's brain's growing, right? Like scientifically, we know this. So if he's running around with a helmet and they're doing like they're hitting them, like I could see a case where maybe a 5-year-old doesn't belong catching a football and getting tackled, right? Like as much as helmets help you, they don't. They're still like
not 100% gonna
see. I agree with that. That age might be a little too young, honestly, for at least a sport like contact football when there is serious development happening within the child's body.
Right. If you're just putting him into sports to give him some sort of activity to do, or just to like learn those team building skills, like it doesn't have to be full contact to learn that kind of stuff. Like getting hit, from behind full
That's why a
force
lot of
by
people
another kid
play
is not going to
soccer.
like teach you anything other than holy shit that hurt.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
even teach you fear. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, yeah, because at a young age, I started football at such a young
Fear
age.
leads to anger. Anger leads to hate.
Yeah.
Hate leads to suffering.
You're trying to get our kids on the dark side, Rocco? It's ridiculous.
No, but for real, it was
Don't
like,
listen to Alex.
that a fear did get instilled in me from playing football at such a young age, because it was like, I got hit real hard several times, and I was like, I want that neck pad. And then I got hit in the back several times, and I'm like, I want that back pad. Like, and then I'm like, any other pads I can have right now, because I don't like that feeling of getting smashed
Oh my
from
God.
being successful in some type of play.
Yeah.
I did not like the hitting at that young age. Later,
Yeah.
I grew into enjoying it. Later,
Yeah.
I grew into loving it and being great at it. But at that young age, there was a lot of fear involved and anxiety involved
Great?
for me.
Are you saying great? I mean, that could be a perspective thing.
Except for I was the one battling Anthony Houlis, man, one-on-one.
Well, learning that your body is not brittle and it can take hits, and seeing feeling your limitations.
It's not
like,
glass.
Yeah, I think that's pretty important. I think
Yeah.
it feels good.
But not to the point of injuries, though. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Ian said,
yeah.
concussions. At young
Yes.
ages, and I've got bulging discs in my spine because of a back injury from football. And not that I can actually say that the ACL stuff is from it, but I think it stemmed from there. I mean, getting hit, hundreds of times in your knees can lead to knee issues eventually.
Very funny
Absolutely.
story is our buddy Jason in high school. He got hit on the very first kickoff. He got hit. He got drilled. It was crazy when you watch a video. He does not remember the rest of the game, and he played the whole time. So
Exactly.
I'm like, that is not good.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
Yeah,
No, that's not. So I can see where there can be some concern.
right.
There can, like
Sports-
look at I mean, not Tyson. Look at what's his. Oh my gosh, I can't
Muhammad
believe
Ali.
it. Muhammad Ali, guys. Like, look at
Cassius
him,
Clay.
right? Like we could sit there and we could sacrifice those years to do all
Right.
that. But then look, look at what the rest of his life is like. He's got more years in the rest of his life than he had in the boxing life. It's like, is that really worth the sacrifice? At some point, now granted, it's boxing where you're going to get hit in the face all the time. That's the objective.
Flies like a butterfly and stings like a bee, man.
And now he can't make a kind of coherent sentence together.
I
you
know,
know?
that's true, yeah.
So it's like, is that worth it?
Yeah.
Is that worth it?
Yeah.
That's good.
no.
Yeah, of course, man.
Look, bottom line, sports. I think they need to exist. I think
Yeah,
that we
they
need to
do.
constantly be checking them and seeing if this is truly like we have like the perfect situation for these kids.
Right.
I think it's really important whether it's a physical contact sport like football, or it's a more like disciplined centric sport like karate.
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah.
simply like chess kind of like one-on-ones and stuff, or you're doing a hobby like mastering an instrument. Like, it's important. I feel like it's important. It at least needs to be an option in the kid's life. And like Steve-O was mentioning, like they gave the option to his daughters, and they didn't take it, and that's fine. They're finding joy in mastering other things. They have YouTube channels. They're playing video games. They're building skills that way, and that's great. But yeah, like it needs to exist. It needs to be an option. It certainly needs to be in schools. So
I agree.
Cool.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So cool. Good topic.
Definitely appreciate the insight, guys.
It's a good one, though, because there's like a bunch of different perspectives of that take.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.